going on, everybody? Welcome to the Diamond in the Rough podcast. It's your boy Nick Therialt, 12, NMR Sports, and Mick Miller, 42. What's going on, guys?
It's DJ Day. Let's go. I'm hype. I'm very hype. Greatest day to be a Yankee fan so far this offseason.
I'm just wondering, as the great Phineas and Ferb once said, where's Perry? Perry Manassian has not done a single move, but it's okay, you know. We're all right. We're vibing. It's not
His
like
move is going to be giving Bauer a 12-year, $40 million a year contract for no reason.
Don't even say that.
It's going to happen, Dan. It's going to happen. I'm
It's
sorry.
definitely going to happen, sooner or later.
Well, we'll have an emergency episode ready for that when that happens.
Oh, okay.
We should have one pre-recorded so we can just drop it as soon as it goes and just be like, this is not a drill. This is a message from your emergency Angels broadcasting system or whatever.
The Angels have made another terrible contract decision.
Awful, man. They
Not
will.
the first one.
I know they will.
It would be like the fifth one this decade, honestly.
Yeah, the only good one that has been Trout. The only one that's been worth it is Trout, 100%.
Yeah, but they weren't going to let him leave.
No, dude.
All right,
they could've...
speaking of not letting anyone leave, Mick Miller, what you got for us, man?
Oh, man. Okay, so this, obviously I'm a Yankee fan, and rumors have been flying like absolute crazy about how DJ and the Yankees started out like they were almost at a deal at the beginning of the offseason already. Like they wanted to come back to each other, and then the farther it went, the farther they seemed to drift apart, and people thought he wasn't going to come back. But Brian Cashman finally put on his big boy pants. Hal Steinbrenner finally said, yes, we can re-sign him. So the deal is $6 million for $90 million. That's not completely confirmed yet. That's the assumption everyone's under right now for the reports.
6 years for $90 million. I think you said 6 mil for $90 million.
Yeah.
6
Yep, my
years,
bad,
$90
my bad.
million.
6 years, $90 million, which is huge for the Yankees. So they kind of met in the middle. DJ wanted a longer contract, and the Yankees wanted to stay under $100 million. So at 6 years, $90 million, it's about $15 million a year, and the Yankees get to stay under the luxury tax, and hopefully they will add some pitching this offseason because their pitching after Garrett Cole is a running joke. So huge day for the Yankees. They get their guy. Now they just have to bank on Gleyber Torres not being atrocious at shortstop. But I'm happy, man. The Yankees get their MVP. They get their best player back. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
They stay under the luxury tax, not far under it, but under it. they're
For
still
now.
11. They got $11 million left to go till they hit it. But knowing the Yankees, 2019, I think they went $227 million. So they're not scared of the luxury tax like a lot of teams are. But so they definitely have room to make more moves this offseason. But if they want to stay under the luxury tax, because I think I remember hearing this with the Red Sox when they were trading Mookie Betts. Like, if you go over the luxury tax a certain amount of times, each year it gets higher and higher and higher.
Exactly.
So I think they're trying to stay under it this year to try to not get those penalties. But
yeah, once you're I think it's like your taxes are a certain amount if you go over for 1 year, and then the longer you're over it, the higher the taxes are.
And then
so
eventually you're
basically
paying like double whatever you have over the luxury tax. So if you have $27 million, you got to pay $50 million, $60 million for that.
Just keep going
So-
up. Yeah.
Exactly. So
we'll
teams
see
just
what
have to
they
reset
do.
it. So for 1 year, they have to stay under, and they reset their tax threshold. So I know the
Yeah.
Yankees want to do that because they lost. They being the Yankees, they lost like close to or the most money this season from not having any fans.
Yeah.
And unlike most owners,
sure.
Hal Steinbrenner, like his only business is the Yankees. A lot of owners like make their money doing something else, and then they have a team on the side. But this is what Hal Steinbrenner does. So he didn't really make any money in 2020.
Yeah,
But-
overall, from what I'm seeing, though, this is a really good deal for both parties. Like, honestly, this is kind of like the perfect deal because DJ's not getting overpaid, but he's getting paid till he's like, what, 38? Something like
38,
that?
exactly.
Because he's
38,
going to
yeah.
his 32 season, I believe. So it's really good for him because of how old he's going to be when he's still getting paid. But it's not like Albert Pujols, who's making $30 million a year to be 40 and run 3 miles per hour to first base. So I think it's going to be... Yeah, it's very good for the Yankees in the short term, and it's really good for DJ in the long term. So I think, honestly, I can't really think of a better deal than this. I thought he was going to make at least $100 million, though.
I was shocked it wasn't over $100 million, but I'm very glad. I'm very glad.
Well, he's the
I
only player
definitely
other
thought
than
it was
Mike
gonna be
Trout to
90.
make top 5 MVP the last 2 years. So
Exactly. I mean, both sides get what they want. DJ gets to come back to the Yankees. Everyone on the Yankees wanted him back. So it's a huge deal for them.
I couldn't really see DJ anywhere else, to be honest.
I would have cried. I probably like if like the
Yeah.
reports were that he was going to go to the Blue Jays or something. I mean that would have just pained me. I would have.
I just want to see him finish his career in New York because I think it's a great fit.
I think he will. I mean, 6 years, he definitely will finish his career in New York.
Yeah, for sure.
But basically, what I saw some people saying is that DJ's basically getting 4 for 90 because they're really paying for the first 4 years because they don't really expect any production after that.
Yeah.
So after, but they get to spread out the AAV. So it's a good deal. Anything he does in years 5 and 6 is just gravy.
Bonus.
It's just a bonus, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely stoked for that. I mean, their lineup is going to be the same as last year, basically. All you have to do if you're a Yankee fan is hope. And by hope, I mean pray to the baseball gods on your hands and knees. Sob to the heavens that Stanton and Judge are healthy, that Glaber knows how to use his glove again, and that Sevy can pitch when he comes back.
Yeah, I'd like to look at the Yankees payroll here for a second because it's one of the most interesting payrolls in baseball. Also, this Fangraphs payroll machine or whatever is really interesting to look at. So they have Garrett Cole, obviously, $36 million through I think more than 2027. It only shows to 2027. Aroldis Chapman they have locked down for the next 2 years. But when you go to their rookies who are still not making that much, Aaron Judge is going to be a free agent 2023. He's currently making $9.9 million. Their top guys, let's see. So you have Garrett Cole and Carlos Stanton both making over $25 million, which is insane. Aroldis Chapman, the highest paid reliever, I think of all time, $17 million. That's ridiculous. And then DJ at 15, Zach Britton at $14 million a year to be not their closer. They're paying a reliever who is not their closer $14 million. Aaron Hicks is making $10 million, as you said, is overrated a little bit. He's also going to be making $10 million till 2025, if that makes you feel any worse.
Yep.
Luis Severino is also making $10 million, and then Adam Ottavino. So they're playing 3 relievers over $9 million. That's absolutely insane. I don't think any other team in baseball is anywhere close to that.
Wow.
Yeah, so they have
maybe the Dodgers, but probably not.
I don't think that much. I don't think they're paying. I mean, I could look that up, but
maybe Kenley Jansen might be the only one clearing 10 mil for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I figured Jansen was. I wasn't sure how much Trinan was getting, but it's probably not 9 mil.
For the Trinan deal last year, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 mil for a year.
Yeah, well, I mean, they re-signed him.
The highest paid player.
Yeah.
The highest paid player on the Dodgers is David Price. Just letting you know that.
Well, that's the Red Sox being stupid. I mean, that's all the Red Sox.
Kenley Jansen is getting $16 million a year. Blake Trinan is getting 8.7, so still not as much as Ottavino. Joe Kelly is making $8.3 million a year.
To suck.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. So yeah, nobody other than that's making. Corey Knebel has a $5 million contract for next year.
Yeah, he just signed with them.
Yep.
Yeah. So nothing crazy. Not as crazy as the Yankees. Especially Zach Britton to not be their closer, getting paid $14 million. That's insane. Salary caps and MLB are very interesting. You could spend all day looking at these payrolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on when and where free agents land on the market. Like, in any other year, DJ probably would have gotten more money. But unfortunately for him, he happened to be a free agent in this terrible offseason, so. Yeah.
Well, another deal that happened was, of course, the Liam Hendriks deal, and I personally think he got overpaid. Like, let me just look this up again. I think he's getting paid like what, $14 million a year?
So it's 3 for 39 in the first 3, so that's $13 million a year.
13.
And then the 4th year, it's a 1-year, $15 million option. And if they decline it and they buy out the $15 million, they can spread it out over 2 or 3 years. So it's confusing, but I like it. I like it a lot.
It's very confusing.
I think it's a good pickup for the White Sox for sure. But I definitely think that they overpaid for him.
Well, let's see. What's the White Sox bullpen looking like now that they have Hendriks? It's nasty.
The bullpen's ridiculous. It's mostly young
Aaron
talent,
Bummer,
though.
Cody Hauer, Matt Foster, Garrett Crochet.
Crochet, man, scary.
Jimmy Cordero.
Oh,
Jimmy Cordero is also scary.
Cody
All
Hoyer.
those guys are young, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like Liam Hendriks, the oldest guy in their bullpen, I think.
But so the first 3 in their rotation are Lucas Giolito, Lance Lynn, Dallas Keuchel, and then maybe Michael Kopech will come back. We'll see what Reynaldo Lopez can do. But they also have Liam Hendriks, Garrett Crochet, Jimmy Cordero, Aaron Bummer, Matt Foster, Jace Fry. All those guys are so good. Their pitching is disgusting.
Yeah, the pitching is crazy on the White Sox.
And
Definitely
obviously
an
they have a
upgrade with
nasty
Hendricks.
lineup, so
Yeah.
Liam Hendriks just confuses. Well, first of all, his baseball reference page is the most confusing thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not entirely sure why. Like, it's super. Like, if you go to his baseball reference page, he's played for like 3 or 4 teams every year. He's been like up and down in the minors. I don't get it. Like, look at his baseball reference page. It's very confusing. But the last 4 years, trying to sort through all this with only MLB teams since 2017, I guess, so 3 years. Let's see. What's he got here? 4.2 ERA in 70 games in 2017. 4.1 ERA in 25 games in 2018. So I guess he was hurt then. 2019, he had a 1.91 ERA. He was elite. And then last year, he had a 2.13 ERA. So I don't know if he deserves $14 million after 2 solid years. That's my only concern with him. Like, Aroldis Chapman earned it from Cincinnati. He earned that contract.
Yeah.
Even though I hate him, he earned it. I don't know if 2 years of solid bullpen pitching is deserving of $14 million a year. That's the only thing I'm concerned about with him.
I would
Yeah, I agree with
disagree. I would disagree, just because. So Liam Hendriks, obviously, he came up as a starter. That's part of the reason why his baseball savant page or baseball reference page is so confusing. I think he came up with the Twins, bounced around a little bit, finally landed with the Athletics. And when he was a starter, obviously, a lot of relievers are failed starters. He threw a sinker, and then I think he threw a couple other pitches that he doesn't really throw anymore. So he scrapped the sinker, like most relievers do, just through the four seam. Like that's the trend in baseball. So obviously all his stats are still on the rise. Like so there's, I mean he's up there, and I think he's like 30. I'm not sure exactly what his age is, but
He's 32, I think.
32.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's definitely reason to believe that he won't be as good, 2 years from now. But I do think he earned it.
The last 2 seasons showcased that for sure.
So Jeff Passan just posted that Toronto just agreed to a $4.325 million extension, I think. I don't know. He just tweeted this. It says it's the most confusing tweet of all time. He said, "You're going to see a ton of player X settled for money Y with Team Z today. This is arbitration." Okay, so it's a $4.325 million arbitration deal. So he's going to be making $4 million next year.
Oh yeah, Teoscar Hernandez. Yeah.
Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the most
I just saw the
confusing
tweet.
tweet of
It
all
makes
time.
sense.
So players are getting their arbitration deals today. Lindor's getting one. Soto's getting one. Cody Bellinger, Javi Baez, Chris Bryant, Carlos Correa, Corey Seager, Aaron Judge, Ryan Flaherty, Lucas Giolito, Walker Buehler, Matt Chapman, Rafi Devers. Yeah, hundreds of players, I should say.
Well, these aren't the guys that are necessarily getting deals today, but today's the deadline to avoid arbitration. So if they don't get a deal today, then they have to go to arbitration and see the arbiter, and then the arbiter will decide what the salary is. So those are all the guys that haven't come to an agreement yet on their arbitration
I remember
deal.
something like that happened with Jock Peterson last year. Like he thought he deserved more money, and the Dodgers wouldn't pay him more money, so he took it to like the arbiter and all that stuff.
Well, that's normal, right? That's how it works. So if the two sides can't come to an agreement, then the arbiter decides, who's right, who's wrong. Basically, it can cause a lot of beef between teams. Being a Yankee fan, a few years ago, Dellin Betances and the Yankees went to arbitration. It was a bloodbath. Dellin was like, "Give me X amount of money," and the Yankees said no. And then I think the Yankees ended up firing whoever went to arbitration for them because he was just such a dick to Betances, saying like, "These are all his numbers, but these are the numbers why he shouldn't be as good as he is. Like this is why we should pay him half as much as he wants." Blah blah blah. So I think that caused a lot of bad blood between the Yankees and Betances, and I think that's why Betances isn't a Yankee anymore, which pains me because I was a huge Betances fan. But arbitration
Betances used to be elite.
You never want your
elite
players to
with
go to
the Yankees.
arbitration. You never want it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just bad all around. I don't understand the system. I mean, it's kind of a necessary evil, but you don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, being a baseball player for the first like 5 or 6 years of your career is complicated as hell until you're like finally out of that rookie deal and no team owns you. You could just do whatever you want and get a shit ton of money. So
Exactly. Everyone is saying that DJ LeMahieu got robbed. I
Yeah,
think
everyone's
so.
saying that.
he wanted to come back to the Yankees, and they obviously that he wants to be a World Series contender. So it makes sense that he would take 15 mil this year, get paid what he deserves, or maybe a little bit less, and then the Yankees can go out and get some pitching so they can be competitive. I just think DJ's a fucking homeboy for doing that because he knows
Yeah.
that the Yankees don't have any pitching, and so he was like, "I'm gonna do the city of New York a solid and take a pay cut so you guys can get some pitching." It makes sense on all ends. I don't really understand why people are saying this is a bad deal.
yeah,
A lot of people are saying that he's got robbed, but he just wants to be a world champion in New York.
Yeah,
he wants
exactly.
to do that for the Yankee fans.
yeah.
And I understand
just-
that completely.
Yeah, I remember this happened with Jared Weaver when he was on the Angels, and we wanted to sign him to a long-term deal. I think it was the Yankees. They offered him like a $200 million contract, and this man took like, I'm not saying half, I'm saying like a fourth of what they wanted from the Angels just to stay in SoCal and be in Anaheim. He was like, I don't need $200 million. What am I going to do with $200 million? $50 million is way more than anybody could ask for in a lifetime. So I just think he's like $15 million a year. Obviously, his agent gets some of that. A bunch of different people take some of that. So it's not like he's taking home all that money. But at the end of the day, even if you take home $1 million out of that 15, you're set for life. You're living in luxury in New York. So
You think,
there's nothing to
Jared
complain
Weaver
about
took
for him.
a pay cut to pay California taxes too, so he
Yeah.
didn't take home much of that.
Yeah, it's interesting though. I think it's a good deal for both sides, and it's going to lead to hopefully some more Yankees moves this offseason. But if it doesn't, I'm big on the White Sox this year.
Yeah, I'm excited to do our prediction videos because I definitely see the Yankees and the White Sox meeting up at some point in the postseason. Which
yeah.
I
I'd
think
love
will
to
be a
see
super
them
fun
in the division
series.
series. That'd be a really great series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess the next deal we should talk about would be, it's kind of a lesser deal. Pedro Baez signed with the Astros for 2 years, and the number isn't quite confirmed yet, but it's around the $12 to $14 million range. And the assumption is that it's going to have some incentives built in. I don't know. The Astros are trying to rebuild their bullpen. They lost some guys after that World Series run in 17 and 19. They also signed another reliever. I'm going to look up real quick who that was because I can't remember.
Pedro Baez, I'm on his baseball reference page. This man can deal.
I've seen
Like, this
some.
man has
really good.
never had a career ERA, never had a year where his ERA went above 3 and not even 3.5. So he's just consistent, I guess, is the best way to put it. He's never really
I've
been
seen
a
some
closer.
bad stats about Pedro Baez though. His spin rate isn't good on his fastball, which obviously isn't good because the less the spin rate is, the less you're gonna fool batters. His fastball velocity is diminishing. So
If he's lucky, he's the luckiest player of all time. 2014 to 2020, he has an average career ERA plus of 131.
I'm not saying he
And-
isn't good. I just
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
really
how. I don't know how long it's gonna last.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense. But he's still very solid, really. Like, yeah, I would have loved for the Angels to sign him. That's what I'm kind of getting at. That is a lot of money, though. Relievers are getting paid this offseason.
I'm talking Pedro Baez down because he went to the Astros, and I would have talked myself into him if the Yankees signed him. I'm just being
100%.
completely open with you. But I've seen
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
bad stats. I've seen bad stats about Pedro Baez that make you assume that he's not going to continue to be as good as he is. But he could prove me wrong, and I hope he doesn't prove me wrong.
I'd say he's pretty consistent too because since 2015 he's never thrown less than 51 innings other than the 2020 season.
Right,
And
right.
he's played in 50 plus games as well. So like he's fairly consistent on whatever team he's on.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like him. I like relievers in general. I would love for the Angels to sign every single reliever in all of baseball. You can
going
never
after
have too
Brad
many good
Hand,
relievers. I would rather have a good bullpen than a good starting rotation because I think a bullpen, especially when you get to the playoffs, it shows. Whoever has the best bullpen, 99% of the time, they always win.
The thing is, though, you need enough starters. You need enough starters, enough decent starters to be able to kick one of those starters to the bullpen in the playoffs. Because if you look at like the Dodgers, they kicked Julio Urias out to the the bullpen, and they obviously won the World Series. If you look at the Astros in 2017, take the trash cans out of it, they had Charlie Morton in their rotation, and then they kicked him to the bullpen, and they won the World Series. The Red Sox had Nathan Eovaldi in their rotation, and then in the playoffs they kicked him to the bullpen, and they won the World Series. So it's a trend where you need a good bullpen, obviously, but you also need a good enough rotation where you can put one of those starters in the bullpen and make it even better.
Exactly.
I
The
would like
Nationals
to.
did it with Patrick Corbin too last.
Oh,
in
you're right. That's
2019.
the other guy I was forgetting was Patrick Corbin in 2019.
He made 3 or 4 appearances in that postseason alone, and he pitched 3 scoreless in what was it, Game 7? I think.
I don't remember,
he
but I remember
really
him
well,
being good. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking
He was
at
good in that
my
one appearance,
specific
but-
example that I want to look at. When I bring that up, I'm specifically thinking of the 2015 Kansas City Royals, who had one of the greatest bullpens I've ever seen in my lifetime. That was the year Wade Davis had, where is it at? His ERA plus for his season was 4.48. He had a .94 ERA in 69 games. He had 17 saves because he wasn't even their closer. Greg
That was
Holland
Greg
their
Holland.
closer.
Yeah,
Greg
and then
Holland
they
was the
had
closer.
Greg Holland
Yeah.
had 32 saves. He had 17 saves. In 67 innings pitched, he gave up 7 runs.
I think Wade Davis gave
ridiculous.
up like 1 home run that entire season. I think.
Yeah, he gave up
It was just
3.
1 home run.
3
Yeah, he
home
gave up
runs.
3
Okay,
that
still.
season.
Still,
And
that's
then you
absurd.
had Greg Holland was a great closer. His ERA was, let's see,
What was the other guy's name? Their number 3.
Kelvin
Kelvin Herrera.
Kelvin Herrera.
Wade Davis,
Herrera.
Kelvin Herrera, and Greg Holland. And then not to mention Ryan Madsen was there with a 2.3 ERA as
Right.
well, with
I forgot
Franklin
about Madsen.
Morales also having a 3 ERA under 4. That's the kind of bullpen you like. That bullpen's going to win you a World Series, and it did, and it almost won them 2.
Yeah.
2014, it almost won it 2. They beat the shit out
Yep.
of the Angels, who were the best team in baseball that year. And
Yep.
their starting rotation was good. It wasn't great. Johnny Cueto was really solid that year. He had a where's his ERA plus? Actually, he wasn't. Chris Young was the best pitcher on that team. 137 ERA plus.
50-year-old Chris Young was the best pitcher,
Yep.
best starter
Yeah.
on that team.
3.06 ERA. Johnny Cueto was like the big shiny free agent they signed, but he didn't even have that great of a year for him. So it really goes.
Well, it wasn't
that's
even.
what,
I think it was.
No,
they
he
traded
was,
him
He was traded mid-season from the Reds.
from the Reds. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Because I really wanted
But he
the
was like the
Yankees to
big
pick him
guy
up.
they acquired, thinking that he was going to take them to the World Series. But realistically, that bullpen just shut down. Like as soon as they had a lead in the 6th or 7th inning, they were chilling because they
Well,
knew they
so-
were
Bullpen
gonna
was
win.
elite.
To go back to the
Yeah.
Astros real quick, Pedro Baez again that signs that deal. The other guy that they picked up, who I forgot about, was Ryan Stanek.
Oh yeah, that's
formerly-
right. Yeah.
I'm a big
Formerly-
Ryan Stanek guy.
He
I like
was.
him a
He
lot.
pitched for the Rays in 19, and then they traded him to the Marlins for Nick Anderson, which was a stupid deal on the Marlins' part. I mean, Ryan Stanek was solid for them. Let me look up his stats real quick. But so
He's
they
only
they are.
28.
So right now the bullpen for the Astros looks like Ryan Stanek, Joe Smith, Pedro Baez, Christian Javier.
I thought Javier was a starter, isn't he?
Oh, he might be. You're right. But then Ryan
they-
Presley.
They
Yeah,
just
Ryan
used him in
Presley-
the pen a bunch this season.
I think Roberto Osuna's back for them next year, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Do they have a
unfortunately.
lefty in their?
Framber Valdez, is he a starter? Or,
He's a.
is he
I think he's
Framber
going to start
Valdez,
for them.
He's a starter.
Yeah, he's.
Valdez is
But
a starter.
again, in 2020, they had enough starting pitching, even without Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
They were able to say, Framber, go to the bullpen for this game. You know, whatever. So.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too. But I mean, if you can have your 4th and 5th starters be decent enough to go to the bullpen for you, that's always helpful. That's kind of what the Angels put Patrick Sandoval in their bullpen, who I went to high school with. Shameless plug. He, I used to borrow his glove when we played baseball. But he got
sick.
sent to the bullpen, and he was one of our best relievers. Okay, that's another thing I want to point out about the Angels. We have not had a left-handed reliever. Like, we legitimately will just be like, oh shit, we need one. Hey you, do you pitch? Are you left-handed? Come on. They'll literally have one left-handed reliever. They had Ryan Buchter was their only left-handed reliever starting the year last year. Then they call up this random
no
dude,
idea who
Hobie
that is.
Milner, just to give up a grand slam to Matt Olson on opening day. And
Hey.
then other than that, we just didn't have a lefty. How can you justify that? Oh my
It
god.
just means the LA needs to get Brad Hand.
I just yeah, we
Right.
do.
What
I just
I
need
wanted to
some
say,
They need him.
as it stands right now, Rosenthal reported that Brad Hand was going to the Mets, and then about an hour later he said, Just kidding. It's not closed yet. My bad. So as we're recording this, we don't know where Brad Hand is going. I do expect him to sign in the next day or two, if the reports were that he was close. I don't think he's going to go to the Angels. Sorry, Nolan.
I know, I don't either.
But real quick,
we
Ryan
signed
Stanek,
I feel like now that they traded for Raisel Iglesias, they think they're done. And
I forgot they
no,
got Iglesias.
You're
At
not.
least they did that.
You're not.
Yeah, me too.
Raisel Iglesias is a nice piece to have in a good bullpen, but you don't have a good bullpen. You have just Raisel Iglesias and Mike Mayers if he can pitch like he did last year. If he can pitch like he did last year, but I don't think he can, honestly. I think it was just kind of a flash in the pan season, but
We'll have to
we
see,
will
man.
just sign some relievers. They also non-tendered like 6 of their relievers, so they legitimately don't have a bullpen right now.
What would you think if they signed Kirby Yates to the Angels?
I gotta look a
Would
little
you
bit
like
into
that?
Kirby Yates. He was elite. I don't know if he still
Yeah,
is.
he was really good, but I think he's starting to get up there in age. But would
Yeah,
you
he
offer him a
is.
contract in Anaheim?
Kirby Yates is going into age 34 season. Last year he
Yeah.
only pitched in 6 games with a 12 ERA, but last season he pitched in 2019, meaning last season. He had a 1.19 ERA in 60 games pitched, and he had 41 saves. I don't even
He
know
was
if drew any
disgusting in
saves.
2019, but I feel like it was 17. It might have been 16 or 17 where he pitched for the Yankees and
Yeah.
was terrible. So I'm not sure.
But
I
he
mean, that
bounced
could just
back
be
with
the Yankees.
Padres.
You know, you want to hear something really fucking awful? Well, let's see. He had 2016 he pitched for the Yankees, 5.23 ERA in 41
Yep.
games pitched.
Exactly.
2017 2017 he had a 3.97 ERA. I'm not sure which teams. Oh no, he played for the Angels and the Padres. His total ERA was 3.97. He pitched 1 game with the Angels, had an 18 ERA, 1 inning pitched, 2 earned runs, and gave up 2 home runs in that
Reunion
inning.
time.
Then he traded him to the Padres. He pitches in 61 games, 55 innings, has a 3.72 ERA. He was decent. Next year, he's the best closer in baseball. The year after that, he's the best closer. Or no, the next year he was an elite reliever that turned into their closer at the end of the year. Then in 2019, he's the best closer in baseball after the Angels traded him away for nothing.
So if I'm the Angels, I'm not taking it back. I mean, that just
Don't
seems
know. Well, he
you
doesn't
take
have
him
that
back-
much of a history of being good. He's been
That's
good
why
for.
I'm saying-
No, but like it would be big
if I'm
risk.
Kirby-
It would be a big risk.
Yeah, if I'm
I
Kirby
agree.
Yates, I'm going back to where I was successful. I'm taking a deal with the Padres to go back to their
Yeah.
bullpen. They obviously
I
figured
agree.
something out for him.
Yeah.
I'm not taking the risk of being bad again. I
Well,
mean,
if they
he's gonna
don't
go wherever
sign
he gets
him, they're
paid,
going to
but-
sign Trevor Rosenthal. I think they sign one of those 2 guys to their bullpen.
I think
The
Rosenthal
Padres?
goes back to the Royals.
Ooh, I would love Rosenthal in Anaheim, but I don't think that's going to happen. Honestly, Brad Hand's my favorite reliever free agent right now. Because we get a good left-handed reliever, which we haven't had in years. I can't remember the last good left-handed reliever we had.
I can't remember the last good reliever you had. I'm not gonna lie to you. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
who's
Mike
the
Mayers
streak?
was elite last year.
Yeah.
K-Rod. K-Rod's the last one that I remember.
K-Rod was the last, like, Hall of Fame caliber reliever we
Yeah.
had. K-Rod
Yep.
and Troy Percival, that's his name. That's
Yep.
those are the
Troy
only
Percival,
2
yeah.
like Hall of Fame caliber relievers we've ever had. But
Real quick to go back, we started talking about pitcher buys in the Astros.
Yeah, we did.
Ryan Stanek also went there. His deal was for one year for 1.1 million. And last year, I mean, he had 2 scoreless innings in the playoffs for the Marlins, which is good. But in 9 games, he had a 7.2 ERA in the regular season for the Marlins. 10 innings pitched and gave up 8 runs. So not good in the regular season.
But clutched up
So-
in the post.
Exactly. Well, only 2 innings, but yeah. And then his deal 1.1 million for 1 year, so the Astros are just taking a flyer on him. And then he has a $50,000 bonus, not $50 million bonus, if he makes the All-Star game. So
Okay.
kind of a cool contract
has
there. I like
a-
that little caveat. It's like, here's a little extra money if you're really good.
It gives a
He
lot
has
of
some
veteran
decent
presence to the Astros.
seasons, especially when he played with the Rays. He was really good, but
Well,
his last
so
2
he's
years
like-
have been awful.
He in 2019, or I think it was 2019, he was their main opener when the Rays first started doing that.
Yeah.
Because he pitched in like 60-something games for the Rays in 19 and started 20-something, I think. So
Yeah, but then when he got traded to the Marlins, he sucked. So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how he does there. I don't know. I'm still a big Ryan Stanek guy, though.
I think he'll bounce back with the Astros. because they add a big veteran presence in that bullpen with Pedro Baez, with all the young arms that they have. Like
Let
they'll
me
be
get
able
this
to
clear.
teach them
I
a thing
like
or two,
Ryan
for
Stanek.
sure.
I hope he doesn't bounce back with the Astros. Please don't.
Same.
Please don't.
Yeah.
But the Astros are going to give him that good sticky stuff, so he's going to be elite next year.
Man.
I'm calling it right now. He's going to be disgusting for the Astros.
He's gonna have an
He's gonna
ERA
get
under
that.
1.
He's going to get that sticky stuff. Yeah. So I think that's good for the Astros bullpen. The next deal was Archie Bradley signed a 1-year, $6 million deal with the Philadelphia Phillies. I like this deal for the Phillies. It's not even close to everything that they need. They're still a 5th place team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We have the same opinion.
They need to sign. If I'm the Phillies, you need to sign Brad Hand. You need to sign Trevor Rosenthal. You need to sign Kirby Yates. You need to sign literally every reliever on the market just to try and bounce back from the horrific.
The Phillies are the National League Angels.
Yeah,
They have
exactly.
an elite middle of the they have an elite player to build a team around and just can't do it. Bryce Harper is elite. He's not Mike Trout level, but he doesn't have Mike Trout potential, I should say, but he has like top 5 player in baseball potential, Mookie Betts potential maybe.
For sure.
Maybe not as fast, and they just can't build a team around him. They both have terrible bullpens. They both have decent lineups with good guys around him, like JT Realmuto. If they don't re-sign him, they're stupid.
Yep.
I don't know. They seem to they spend a lot of money on their team, also like the Angels, and put a good squad on the field that looks good on paper, and you think, oh, they're a playoff team, and then you realize they have no bullpen. They have mediocre starting pitching. It's not bad. It's mediocre. Zach Wheeler's solid. Aaron Nola's solid, but they don't have like a Garrett Cole to come out and shut him down. They don't have a Justin Verlander come out and shut him down. They don't.
Aaron
have
Nola
anybody.
definitely has that potential. Aaron Nola.
Yeah, I
is
definitely think
gross,
that too.
but-
He does, but I don't know. I don't see him as like a top 5 starter in baseball, top 10 starter in baseball.
I wouldn't say he is right now, but I think if a year from now, 2 years from now, we're saying that Aaron Nola's top 5 in baseball, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Right now, I think he'd be like top 15 at least.
I've seen Aaron Nola pitch in person, and his pitch stuff is disgusting. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. I'm actually really high on Zach Wheeler, low key. I know he's kind of overrated, but I don't know why. I've always been high on Zach Wheeler.
I think Zach Wheeler was my overrated pick. I can't remember.
Oh, he was,
Pretty sure
but
he was. Yeah.
and I agree this far in his career, but we'll
The
see.
Phillies don't still have Arrieta, do they?
They do.
No, he came off.
Oh wait,
no,
he's
I
a
think
free
he
agent
came
now.
off the books. Yep, he came off the books this year.
Okay.
Which is good for them
terrible.
because they gave him that
I'm
terrible
gonna-
contract.
Yeah. He was
I'm gonna
awful
laugh if
with
he
the
goes to
Phillies.
another team and is elite.
Yeah, because
Well,
that's
I
what
think
happened.
he's like in his upper 30s, so I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But so the Phillies also got this was last week sometime. They got Jose Alvarado.
Jose Alvarado, right? Yeah.
He's a good pitcher. So they are
I
Worth
do
working
like
100
towards
miles
it.
an hour.
Fireball and left-handed pitcher. I feel like he hasn't quite lived up to his potential yet, but he's still pretty young, isn't he?
Jose
know
Alvarado
exactly
is
what
25, so yeah.
25, yeah. So he's got his better years ahead of him. So
Well, in the
still got-
bullpen,
he's
they
still got
also
time.
have David Hale, who I don't think is very good, but they have him.
No.
Sir Anthony Dominguez has potential. Hector Neris has potential. And then the only other name I recognize on this list is Ranger Suarez, who I'm not sure is very good.
I've never heard of any of these guys except for Hector.
I like
Neris.
Ranger Suarez and MLB The Show if that's any he's my favorite common pitcher, but the fact that he's a common pitcher is not a good sign.
The David Hale was a pitcher for the Yankees, but David Hale's 33, so I wouldn't expect too much from him.
Yeah, a lot of their pitchers used to be good. Like Hector Neris used to be really good. So
Well,
did,
Ranger
Sir Anthony.
Suarez in 2020. Sorry, not to cut you off, but
There you
he had a 20.25 ERA in 4 innings in 2020. His career ERA is 4.66, and his WHIP is
Sounds like a-
1.5. So
Sounds like a perfect pick for the Angels or Phillies bullpen.
exactly,
Fits right into that puzzle.
exactly.
Yeah,
But-
so I think Archie Bradley's a solid addition for them. He's been up and down his whole career, but he's still a solid reliever. His ERA was under 3 last year, so that was really good for him. He
And
kind of bounced
apparently the
around
man
last
can
year,
hit
though.
too.
He can, man. He had a triple.
Dude,
in
that
what was
triple.
it, the NLDS.
NLDS.
Oh,
in
he had a
2017
triple in the
against
wild
Toronto.
card
Wild
game.
card? I remember
it
that
wild
because
card?
they were about to
Wild card game.
lose, and then he comes up
Yep.
a reliever hitting a triple. in
Oh
the
yeah,
wild
that's
card
right.
game.
Yeah.
He's just a fun guy to have around too. But
I
don't
think
know.
he'll be good for the bullpen. I think he could make a run for the closer, Either him or Alvarado, but they need more pieces for sure.
Oh my God, yeah.
Well,
I'm looking
they're
up.
just so inconsistent, though. You could put the best bullpen together in baseball, and they could still blow a ton of saves, and they're very inconsistent. It's hard to get a lockdown reliever unless your name's Mariano Rivera.
Exactly.
That's
So I'm
fair,
looking up
yeah.
Archie Bradley's baseball savant stuff, nerd stats again, my kind of stuff. So they only have like his spin rates and his velocity. So his velocity is decent. He's in 66th percentile for velocity, which is decent. But then he's 34th percentile for fastball spin rate, which isn't good. That's below average. And then his curveball spin rate is second percentile. So he's bad at throwing a curveball as J.P. Crawford is at hitting baseballs,
Damn.
which isn't good.
He's the J.P. Crawford of curveballs?
He's the J.P. Crawford
Ouch.
of curveballs. If you know, you know. So that's not good. His curveball basically just doesn't spin, which is not good.
Yeah.
That's pretty terrible, honestly.
Yeah. But hopefully, I like Archie Bradley. I think he's fun. So hopefully, he's good for them.
Yeah, I think the same thing.
Yeah. He would have looked better in an Angels uniform, but he'll be all right with the Phillies.
You need some
The only
lefties
thing-
in the Angels bullpen.
Yeah. They just need arms in the Angels bullpen.
Anyone
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. So
The
there's
only
still a
thing
lot of
about
free
Pitt-
agent moves to go around, I guess, but I think the last move of the offseason is going to be Trevor Bauer because he's just trying to milk it out to promote his YouTube. So,
1,000%.
yeah. So I think Trevor Bauer will be last. I think Brad Hand's probably next. I think that's a pretty fair bet.
I would go Corey Kluber and then Brad Hand probably.
God, dude,
And then Springer.
if the Angels can get Corey Kluber for under $10 million a year, I'll go as far as 10. Anything over 10, I get a little bit sketched out, but because there was
I
a
wouldn't
report
go
that
10,
came out.
but-
Yeah, we got to find that report where he came out. He said he's asking for $5 or $6 million for a 1-year contract.
So I don't know if it's like official, but there's been a couple reporters on Twitter saying he only wants a 1-year deal, which is good because he just wants to go out and prove himself that he can still pitch. And
wants
the
to bounce
reports
back.
are that teams are saying 5 to 6 mil. I'm not sure if Kluber wants more than that. But if I'm Kluber, and you can call it Yankee bias. I think you can also call it just logic. If I have a $6 million deal from the Yankees and a $9 million deal from the Angels, I'm taking the $6 million
you're
deal
not.
to go to the Yankees.
No, you're not.
Yes,
How
I
many
am,
Yankees
dude.
pitchers have signed with the Yankees and been fucking terrible and then gone to another team and been great? I can name Lance Lynn off the top of my head. I can name Sonny Gray off the top of my head. There's so many, I feel like there
Well,
aren't that many
okay,
pitchers
but-
that go to the Yankees and are good. Even Garrett
Wait,
Cole
wait,
was
guys,
better with the Astros.
Don't look at. Okay, yes, you could look at
It's
the history.
not a good
and say it's
environment to
hard,
pitch in.
It's hard to pitch in Yankee Stadium. I'm giving you that.
Yeah.
But if
I'm
I'm
gonna go
Corey
grab some
Kluber,
popcorn, boys.
if I care anything about winning, I'm going to the Yankees because they have
Okay,
a
the
much
Yankees
better
that
chance of
can't
winning.
make it to the World Series with the best team in baseball
They haven't had the best
and
team
the
in
best
baseball.
pitching.
The
Oh, they
Dodgers,
Well, they should have made it to the World Series. They're the best team in the American League. You can't beat a team whose payroll's like $5 million. You have Aaron Judge. You have
How many
Giancarlo
playoff
Stanton,
games has Mike
Gary
Trout played
Sanchez
in?
used to be elite. I'm not saying the Angels are better. The Angels, Southern California is the best place in all of America to live if you're a millionaire, in my opinion. But
yeah, if you can pay their fucking taxes.
yeah, exactly, and you can if you're making $10 million a year from the Angels. Perry Manassian, go do it. Go do it.
No, I'm just saying.
But
If Corey Kluber cares about winning, he's going.
Yeah.
But Corey
But
Kluber,
the thing is, Corey Kluber can go wherever he wants. He's gonna get a 1-year, $6 million deal from every team in the majors except the Rays, the Indians, and the Rangers.
I
So
think
he
the
can
Rays
go
will give
wherever
him
he
an option.
wants.
I think the Rays will give him an option. But
But he's gonna
when it,
go
no,
with
when
the
it comes to
team
Corey
that has
Kluber,
the
he's coming back
best
off
chance.
2 injured seasons where he's been terrible, and he's trying. You don't want to be in one of the most scrutinized environments in all of major sports. Yankee Stadium is not a good environment you want to pitch in if you're coming back off an injury and people are expecting a lot out of you. In Anaheim, you fuck up, no one's gonna care. The East Coast people are asleep when your game starts. Literally nobody. Mike Trout
True.
is the best player in baseball. You don't see him on SportsCenter as much as you see guys in New York like Aaron Judge. When Aaron Judge was a beast in 2017, you saw him way more than Mike Trout because Mike Trout plays at 10 o'clock every night. Corey Kluber the West Coast is a good spot for him if he's trying to go to an environment that'll be suitable for him. And honestly, I'll be honest, Angel
There's a
Stadium is
reason-
not nearly as ruthless as any other. Like even if you go to LA, if you suck, they're gonna boo you. Angel Stadium, you suck. Most of the people are gonna be on their phones drinking beer. They're not gonna pay attention to you. I'll be honest. I've been
I
to
don't
enough
know.
Angels games to attest to that.
Corey Kluber's pitched in the biggest games in baseball. He was disgusting for the Indians. They went to the World Series. He's been there and he's done that. He's been in a crowded Cleveland stadium, which is impressive for Cleveland. But like, and there's a reason that his nickname is Klubot. Nothing is gonna get to that man. Nothing. He has whatever. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't.
no,
he
he's
doesn't
faced all the
talk. He
pressure
doesn't
of it
smile.
already.
His face is the same no matter what. Like, and we've seen a shaved Corey Kluber. He shaved when he pitched for the Rangers. So it's not like he cares too much about his beard. So obviously I'm talking myself into Kluber. I want him really bad. But if I'm a player and I can go to the Angels or I can go to the Yankees, I'm going to the Yankees. Or even if I'm a player and I can go to the Angels or I'm going to the Dodgers, I'm going to the Dodgers because they have a better chance of winning.
And you want to be on the team that
dude,
wins.
if that's the case, then how are the Angels ever going to win? If you only go to the Dodgers and the Yankees, first of all, if you go to those teams, you're not going to play. Also,
No. This is only if the deals are the same, because the Angels obviously are known if you're a bad team, you got to overpay for guys, and a lot of teams are willing to do that to try and get people. So that's why free agents sign with other teams. So because the deals aren't always
New
the
York
same.
Yankees. You're going to talk about overpaying people?
No, what I'm saying. Look.
I'm gonna go grab the popcorn, boys.
Look at the Robinson Cano deal. Look at that. I know that was like 2013 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the Yankees wouldn't go above 200 mil, and the Mariners, who weren't a good team, were like, here's $240 million for 10 years, and he signed that deal because he wanted to get paid. So that's what teams have to do when they can sign players like that. So I mean, there's a history of it. You can look at it.
I agree, but I think it'd be a lot more impressive if you go to the Angels and they make the postseason to make a deep playoff run than if you go to the Yankees and you're pretty much ignored because you're just like a piece in the rotation. Where if the Angels, you could actually change the best player in baseball's career path and get him back to the playoffs. That's why I think the draw is for a big, especially like guys like Trevor Bauer who are looking to make a big difference on a team. If you go to the Yankees, you're not making that big of a difference, I'll be honest. Even Garrett Cole doesn't make that big of a difference to that team because they're already so good without him.
Hard disagree.
He's got a point there.
No, but they're so good without. They're so good already. If you go to that team,
They have
you're not making
no
that big of a
pitching
difference.
behind Garrett Cole. They have nothing behind Garrett Cole right now. Their
I
number
don't know,
2
Luis
starter.
Severino. I'm a big fan of Luis Severino. I think
Right,
Luis
yeah,
but
me
Severino's
too.
you don't know what you're going to get out of Luis Severino. He's not going to pitch again until July. Domingo Germán missed all of 2020 because of his suspension. Their number 2 starter right now is like Jordan Montgomery or Davy Garcia, who's not proven.
What about
Neither of those guys are proven.
James Paxton?
No, he's a free agent, and the Yankees aren't going to re-sign him.
I don't know. I
So-
think you're re-signing Masahiro Tanaka. I think Luis Severino's going to go back to elite form. If it's not in the first month of the season, towards the end and in the playoffs, he will be really good. Garrett Cole's obviously your ace. And then Clark Schmidt and Davy Garcia, I think both are really solid young guys who could come up and pitch well for you. I don't know if they're going to be amazing to start, but Davy Garcia looked really good last year.
Yeah,
So-
I have high
Yeah.
hopes on those two.
Right, so I mean, trust me. So
Really
do I.
high
I think you can
Yeah.
count on either Davy or Clark being decent, but you need Severino to come back in July and be amazing. You need Germán to come back and be good again. And this year, particularly, because a lot of pitchers didn't throw that many innings in 2020 because of the season, you're gonna need like seven to 8 starters because you got to build guys up slower than you normally would have to because the people only pitched like 60 innings last year or whatever it was. So
Well, I'm curious to think I'd like to look at the stats on this. If you have a good season in New York compared to having a good season on a bad team, what the different payouts the next season are. Because I feel like you don't stand out as much in New York if you have a good season with them compared to having a
Kluber
good
to the
season with a
Yankees.
team like the Angels or the Royals in his case. Because Hosmer got paid really well for having a good season with the Royals, and the Royals weren't really a flashy squad, and he was kind of one of the best players on that team.
Yep.
who
that's
got
kinda one
paid?
example.
I missed that.
Oh, sorry. I was
Hosmer.
saying, like, if you're on a small market team and you do well, like Eric Hosmer did on the Royals.
Oh,
and then he goes
Hosmer, yeah.
Didn't he
well,
get,
they
like,
won
a
a World
$200 million?
Series, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
He got
But he
150 for 8 years.
I think if Hosmer
in
put up the
San
same
Diego.
stats that he did in 2015 on the Yankees, I don't think he would have gotten as big of a contract. He wouldn't have stood out as much, you know? That's kind of what I'm getting at. If you want to go be the standout ace or the standout, like, you know, franchise-changing pitcher, you're not going to do it on the Yankees. You're going to do it on a smaller team like the Angels, who already have a really good offense behind you.
I mean, I disagree. If you want the publicity and you want to be franchise changing, but that's the thing. I think Corey Kluber. I think when you're specifically talking about Corey Kluber's not franchise changing. He's either going to go out and he's going to pitch like a number 3 starter and be good, and I think that's high end, or he's going to get injured or he's going to suck and the team's going to cut him because it's a 1-year deal. I don't
Yeah,
think.
but I think in
we're-
that case you want to do that on a stage like the Angels have, not a stage like the Yankees have.
I don't. Maybe that's like. I'm just saying, if I'm Corey Kluber and I want to win, I'm going to the Yankees because that nothing seems to phase him, and like he has a chance to be good and play for a really good team.
I would
If
pick
you want
the Angels have one of the
publicity-
best.
Corey Kluber.
The Angels have one of the best offensive lineups in baseball. They are up there. They were up there in all the matrix for offense last year. They just have no pitching whatsoever. So if you get some pitching in there, like Corey Kluber, you're going to make a huge difference to that team. And you could honestly, 2 pitchers could carry us to the postseason because the defense is good enough, or the offense and the defense is good enough. We have one of the best defenses in baseball too, David Fletcher.
I hope you're right.
Shout out to him.
I want you to be right because I don't want Corey Kluber to sign with the Angels, but I hope you're right about the Angels being good because I want to see Mike Trout in the playoffs. I do. I'm a baseball fan more so
We
than
all
a Yankee
do.
fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to see that, but we are in disagreement about how you do that and what it means to play for New York and what it means to play for the Angels, which is fine. We can disagree on that. There's
We're
two
all
more.
friends here.
There's 2 more things that we need to talk about. Alex Wood signed a 1-year, $3 million deal with the San Francisco Giants. He goes to the Dodgers' rival. Obviously, Alex Wood pitched for the Dodgers for a few years. I expect Alex Wood to be decent for the Giants. That ballpark has 500-foot dimensions in every direction, it seems. So I'm sure he's going to be better for them than he was for the Dodgers.
I definitely think he's going to be bounced back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Kevin Gausman was last year, but if he is decent, it won't surprise me. He'll be a Kevin Gausman-esque. I don't know if it's going to be as successful, but I think he'll be good for them.
Well, they can use him in numerous ways too. They can put him in the starting rotation as like a 3rd or 4th or 5th starter. They could have him in the closer role or a setup role in the bullpen. Like there's many options that you can use him for. So
I think
that's
he's
what
more
I
of a
think.
long reliever type guy in the bullpen, though. I think you want to pitch him multiple innings wherever he's at.
Yeah, that's true.
Still, he
I
has
think he'll
versatility.
be in the rotation, though. I don't think the Giants have enough pitching for him to not be in the starting rotation.
I mean, it also
Yeah.
depends on how good he is. If he's not that good,
Yeah.
I mean, it's only 1 year 3, so if he's terrible, they can cut him. But
Yeah.
I do think
Just
it
depends
on
how
good
he
is.
starts.
Exactly.
Well, he had a
that's
good
not-
year in
The Reds
2017,
2019,
so-
because I sure as hell didn't.
Yeah, dude, he was part of that when the Reds were like restacking their pitching. They had Alex Wood, they had Tanner Roark, who they ended up trading. I think there was one other guy they had, I don't remember, and then they ended up being bad, so they traded all those guys away. They traded Alex Wood back to the Dodgers.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at his
Yeah.
reference page. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, me too.
Interesting.
Well, if he can go back to 2017 for him, then the Giants are back in business, I think.
Exactly. But I remember
That's
Alex
yeah.
Wood was part of the deal that sent Yasiel Puig to the Reds. If I remember
yeah, it was
correctly.
Puig and...
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, it was
Puig
Puig and Wood.
and
It was
Wood.
a 3-team deal. I don't remember the whole trade, but that's how he ended up there.
Dodgers love making their moves.
This isn't a league-changing deal, obviously. It's 1 year, $3 million for Alex Wood. But it does help the Giants. I think the Giants quite easily finished 3rd in that NL West division because the Diamondbacks are terrible and the Rockies aren't going
And
to
the
be
Rockies
very
are
good.
bad.
So
The Rockies
Yeah.
are bad.
We'll see. Depends what the Rockies get back for if they make some moves or not. The Rockies have a good core. They just don't know what they have to trade Trevor Story and Herman Marquez or they're just going to let him walk next year. It doesn't
exactly.
make
And
sense.
I
Herman
think
Marquez, I think, has 2 or 3 years left on his deal, but Trevor Story's a free agent next year. You got to trade him if you want anything back for him. You saw the Indians got stuff for Lindor.
barely.
I think
but,
Trevor
yeah.
Story. I don't know if this is a hot take. I like Trevor Story a lot, man.
I really like Trevor Story too.
I don't know if
I
he's
think he's
better than
underrated.
Lindor, but I think he's on a similar tier. He's got elite
He's
defense,
top
elite
5.
speed,
He's top 5
and
for sure.
yeah, he's got better speed than Lindor. He's got, I don't know if it's just as good of a glove, but a damn good glove
Close.
at shortstop, and he's got way more power than Lindor does. I like Trevor Story a whole lot, and I think they can
He's
get a lot
very
back in
underrated.
return for him.
Trevor Story is very underrated. I would agree with that.
If you want to keep Nolan Arenado, I think they trade Nolan Arenado too, but I think Trevor Story's a
Yeah,
guy you got to
unfortunately.
trade unless you plan on signing him long term next year.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, if I'm the Rockies, the Dodgers are going to be good forever, and I think the Padres, they have this window, this 4-year window, let's call it, where they're going to be really good. So if I'm the Rockies, I trade everyone. I don't know if they can trade Blackman, but I trade Story, I trade Arenado, I trade Herman Marquez, I trade John Gray. I get whatever I can, and I completely
Yeah.
reload. And
I
then
would consider
the
trading
Dodgers
for
are
the
going to be at the top of
Rockies.
that division. But when the Padres window closes, and I'm the Rockies, I
Rockies
want
will
my window
open.
to open. So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
I do if I'm them. I get rid
The
of
Rockies
everyone
just
and
have
just
such
restock.
a hard time because they can't have good pitching. No matter who signs there, they're not. No good top of the line pitcher is going to sign with the Rockies because they know it's career suicide unless they get paid a significant amount more.
You'd have to pay them like $500 million to be like,
Yeah.
sorry, your ERA is going to be 4.5.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's like it's just such. It'd be tough being a Rockies fan.
I
don't
feel
know.
bad
I'm just
for
a
them,
huge.
too.
I'm a huge Nolan Arenado fan. He's like one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah.
That's why I want them to trade him. I don't know why he signed that extension. So
I think he wanted to be the guy that Mike Trout's going to be for the Angels, be that face of the franchise guy who's a homer, who spends all this time with the one franchise. And, you think Nolan Arenado, just like you think of Todd Helton, you think of the Rockies. You think Nolan Arenado, you think of the Rockies. But guys like Bryce Harper, what do you think of when you think of Bryce Harper? Do you think of him as a Philly? Do you think of him as a National? But then you have guys like Ken Griffey Jr. who did that, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I think at this point it's just kind of a wash being on the Rockies and having that much talent.
That's what I'm saying. You just trade everyone away, reload, and when the Padres are bad again, which is inevitable, then you just go back and you open that window for yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be a race between the Diamondbacks, Giants, and Rockies on who can rebuild the best.
And I think
I'd
the
say-
Giants are the best run organization, like by far out of those three. So
Yeah.
I would expect
Yeah.
the Giants to probably take advantage of the Padres. When the Padres window closes, I'm expecting the Giants to take advantage of it the most, because I just don't think the Rockies and Diamondbacks will run very well.
Well, they already have
Well, the
some
Giants
good young
have a
guys
lot of
coming up.
lot of good young talent coming. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly, but a guy
I
like
really like
Mike
Joey Bart,
Yastrzemski's-
and I really like Mike Yastrzemski. So.
Well, Mike Yastrzemski, I think Mike
Yeah.
Yastrzemski's like 32. He's older.
No, I
yeah,
think,
he's
I think
older
he's like,
for.
he's like 28. think.
Let me look.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
if
he's
I'm
old
not
for
sure.
like a rookie or like a young guy who hasn't been.
Okay,
around.
he's not. We right in the middle. I said 32. You said 28. He's 30.
And how long has he been in the league for?
2019 was his
years.
rookie season, so he came up at 29
Yeah,
as a rookie.
Yeah, that's crazy to go that long in the minors and.
I don't know why the Giants kept him down there so
talent.
long.
Yeah.
I
I mean, it goes to show that developing in the minors is important because you see a guy like Joe Adell that didn't come up when he was ready last year, and he looked awful.
exactly.
He needs a lot more time in the minors for sure.
Yeah.
The last thing, and I'm gonna let Nick take the lead on this one because I don't know much about it, is Theo Epstein has after he left the Cubs, he decided to work for the commissioner's office. I don't know what role he's working in, but if he can like slap Rob Manfred in the face and tell him to fix baseball, I'm in.
Yeah. Well, 2 months after he resigned his role in Chicago, he was hired on Thursday as a consultant to Rob Manfred in the on-field matters of Major League Baseball.
There we go.
So, hopefully he can make a difference in Rob Manfred's mind and change some things around. And like the university,
basically, he's
we
like
all want
DH.
that.
Exactly. The
all I got.
universal
We all
DH,
want
bring it
that.
back right now.
all I got.
We all want that for sure.
Basically, his role, from what it seems like, is like, Rob, I've been on the other side. I know what the players want. Don't be fucking stupid anymore. And hopefully, like, do you want to continue to be the worst commissioner in sports? And then you can continue what you've been doing. But here's what you need to do. And I'm gonna end up being commissioner if you don't fix yourself here pretty soon. That seems like that's what
Theo
Theo
Epstein for
Epstein's new
commissioner.
job is.
Hot
Literally
take.
Epstein
anyone
for
but Rob
Predictions.
commissioner,
Manfred.
that I would love
Recul-
that. I would love that
Reckless
because he
speculation.
brought
Theo
the Cubs
Epstein.
up. He brought
new
the Cubs
MLB
up. He could
commissioner.
change the MLB for good.
I mean, he broke the Red Sox curse. He broke the Cubs curse. And hopefully
Yep.
he'll break the curse of the MLB. And
Rob
The
Manfred.
commissioner
and the
curse.
curse of Rob Manfred. Let's hope. Let's hope to God.
Yeah, I hope he does. I hope he makes some changes, like from the sidelines. Like I don't want that runner on second in extra innings rule. I don't like that at all.
I don't think that'll come back. I think if anything comes back, it'll
no.
be the universal DH.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah,
the
it has
universal
to.
DH comes back. But
With
what
the-
do you
so
guys'
the-
thoughts on
It
the?
was so good in 2020. It was so good. It was the best part.
The universal
We
DH.
saw guys like
also
Marcelo
the-
Zuna be absolutely amazing. Marcelo
Exactly.
Zuna and Adam Duvall,
Yeah, he
neither
was
one of them has a
insane.
good year if the universal DH isn't around.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think he signs with an American League team, hopefully, so he can be used as a DH, so he doesn't
Ozuna?
have to be in left or right. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
internationally. For sure. Yeah.
I'd take Marcelo Zuna as our new left fielder.
My problem with I don't know if the universal DH is going to come back this year because the CBA, and I don't know what that stands for. It's like something baseball agreement or bargaining agreement. The bargaining agreement.
Collective bargaining agreement.
Thank you. Collective bargaining agreement is up after the 2021 season. So basically, what that means is the Players Association and the league have to come together and make a new CBA after the 2021 season, and that's most likely when the universal DH will be reintroduced, in my opinion, when they come to like a formal long-term agreement about it. But some people are saying that there might be a lockout, a holdout after the CBA runs out. So if they don't come to an agreement, the 2022 season might not start on time. So it could go great or it could go really, really bad for the sport. We've seen the Players Association and the league have beef before and not care about what's good for baseball, only care what's good for themselves. So I don't know if the universal DH is going to come back, but hopefully Theo Epstein makes it happen.
Yeah, I really hope so.
If the sport fixes itself, I think Theo Epstein's going to get a lot of credit. At least he's going to get a lot of credit from me.
Yeah.
He has my vote for next commissioner.
Oh, absolutely.
If he does, 100%.
Yeah.
So that's all the deals we have to talk about. You guys have anything else you want to talk about before we give our hot takes and head out of here?
I think I'm chilling, man.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right, Nick, give us your hot take. What's your hot take for the either a free agent prediction hot take or a prediction for the 2021 season? Give us one real quick.
I think Trevor Bauer signs with the Blue Jays. 6-year deal.
Oh, okay. I like that. What's
120 mil.
For 6 years? That's a team-friendly contract. I'd be shocked. That is a hot take.
That's what I'm gonna guess.
All right, I like it. That is a hot take. That's for sure. Nolan, what do you got?
I'm just gonna take a shot at Michael here, just to the Blue Jays win the NL East or the AL East. Blue Jays win
shit!
The AL
All right,
East.
that is a hot take. Hey, if my hot take from Ep1 comes true, I wouldn't be surprised because if Vlad Jr. wins the MVP, like my hot take said, then hey, it makes sense.
If they sign Kluber and or Springer, they're a lot of young talent.
I think they're front runner for Springer right now. Actually,
they are.
The Blue Jays, yeah. I think the Mets have a good chance of signing Springer as well, but we'll see.
One of the two, but I hope he goes to Toronto for some reason. If him and Bauer both go to Toronto, then they're going to be a force. And
they're going to be good. They're going to be real good.
For sure. Yep.
So that hot take could come true. That's not a bad. I like it. I like that take. I mean, I don't like that take, but it's a hot take which I like. I'm trying to decide what my hot take is going to be.
Christian Vasquez will lead the league in ERA.
No, he'll lead the league in saves.
There we go.
Right?
For the Red Sox.
That's the hottest of takes. That's probably. I don't know if that's the hottest or coldest of takes. Let's see. What do I want to say?
Shohei Ohtani for MVP. You're here first.
Well, I can't say that if I think Vlad's gonna win the MVP. Let's say, okay, my prediction is the Angels get Bauer for 8 years, average annual value of $34 million a year. So you do the math. I'm not a math guy. That's my prediction. 8 years for $34 million a year, and they miss the playoffs in 2021. That's my. You can say that's a hot take. You can even say that's just.
Oh no,
logic,
I have no faith right
here.
now.
I'm taking my prediction. That's not even a shot at Nolan. That's just a shot at the Angels organization.
Yeah, I have no faith either.
All right, real quick before we head out, Nick, where can people follow you on your socials? I forgot to do this in Ep 1 and 2, which was something I wanted to do. So, what's your Insta?
You guys can follow me on my Instagram at NickTerrio12, and my Twitter, same thing. And I currently don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that, so that's about it for me.
Nolan, where can people find you?
Me. NMR Sports on legitimately anything. NMR Sports 30 on Twitter and Instagram. NMR Sports on YouTube. NMR Sports on Twitch.
Same for me, McMiller42 on all platforms, YouTube, Twitch. Make sure hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that follow button if you're listening on Spotify. So we hope you guys enjoyed this one, and peace out.
Peace.